All right, so a little bit of switch of gears here. We're going to look into the world of comic books, where DC Comics, the floundering arm of the Warner Empire, has actually made a new supervillain that is a representation of toxic fans. All right, so this comes courtesy of Screen Rant, who is totally in the back pocket of basically the corporations. They will shill for anybody. I mean, it's disgusting. So this is going to be peppered with their own little support of this idiotic idea, but it's still a news article, so let's still kind of break it down. So get ready for this. The DC Universe's next greatest threat is here, and his entire existence is calling out the worst parts of comic book fandom. John Stewart, the Emerald Knight #1, reveals Esak's true intentions, and it undoubtedly doubles as a criticism of toxic fans. So, obviously, the big question here is, what is DC defining as a toxic fan, right? Is it people that just hate DC Comics for the heck of it? Oh, no, it's worse than that. We go on. So they recap that the last few years have been a big change for the Green Lantern Corps, and specifically John Stewart, who basically acquired some godlike powers. Esak, E-S-A-K, one of the new gods, who can't stand the changes his fellow new gods have gone through, they say throne, and sees progress as a form of corruption. Okay, now, this is the first clue that we need to look out for, okay? So the slant of not only the article, but DC, and honestly, the reason I'm covering this is it's apparent in all the pop culture stuff that I talk about, the TV, the movies, everything, is that they view people who criticize current state of affairs as being against progress. Okay, that's their crutch that they hold on to, and it's 100% incorrect. That's not the criticism. The criticism is valid, but they can't accept that, so they just say, oh, okay, you're behind the times or you don't like progress, okay? So that's the start, but we go even deeper, okay? Esak captures John Stewart and puts him in what he believes to be his perfect world, which is an old version of New Genesis, the planet where the gods live. Even includes an old school Ben-Day dots. If it wasn't clear that Esak is motivated by nothing more than his pining for how things used to be, it becomes obvious when he finally evolves and becomes the new god of nostalgia. Okay, so this is crux number 2. One of these new writers, all medium, that are putting out garbage. When they are criticized for it, they think that, oh, you just want it to go back to the way it was because you're nostalgic for how it was when you were a kid, but that's not valid or anything else because things are not like you remember them, and things are not as good back then as compared to some metric that we're using today. They are, of course, wrong on all counts. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen to some people. By and large, most of the criticism, if you actually take time to read it, is, I don't like this new movie, television show, comic book, graphic novel, whatever it is, because the writing is bad, because it isn't an interesting story or character. Now, as it specifically relates to comic books, where they're utilizing characters that have been around in some cases for 70, 80 years or more, then what they're actually saying is, it used to be written well. That's nostalgia. That's what we're looking for. But these new writers can't get that, so they gotta go and dig down even further. So Esak, quote, calls out regressive fans. And it actually goes on to say that, hey, DC's done this before. Superboy Prom was used as the go-to example for critiquing the hatred some fans spewed towards the creative directions of DC. Mickey Missixaplex has been used to parody the arguments made by overzealous fans who view the past stories as perfect while tearing down the newer ones. And so Esak is simply the latest embodiment of entitled fans who want a more regressive comic book world with no room for growth or advancement. Again, now, third pillar, right? They think that the changes that they made, these new writers, are good and valid, and so really everybody who is against them is merely not welcome or accepting of advancement. And it is, again, 100% wrong. If you make a change to something that's terrible, that is not new and advanced. It's just terrible. So we're about to cap everything off here with, no matter the era, change is one of the few consistent things about comic books, and new characters and directions are only natural as time goes on. But there are comic fans who insist the past was better and that the efforts should be made to return to that. While everyone is entitled to their opinions, some readers take their beliefs too far and make it a much more toxic experience for all involved. Esak's determination to return the DC universe to an older state, i.e. one he grew up with, is an interesting way to showcase how ridiculous it is to idolize the past while making no effort to appreciate the here and now. Since that line was Screen Rants, you can see why I'm saying they will shill for anyone. However, they've actually done a really good job in encapsulating part of the root of the problem. That these new writers, and I understand this, it's human nature, they don't understand or accept that what they're writing is garbage. So there is no accepting the new or appreciating the new. You can't appreciate something that's garbage. And so the desire to go back is not a desire to go back, it's a desire to return to good storytelling, creative decisions, building upon the works that came before you. Because the other thing that conveniently is left out of this, and again, cross entertainment spectrum. This is comic books, but it happens in movies, it happens in TV shows. They are taking established characters and completely ignoring their history, completely ignoring their traits, gender flipping them, sexually orientation flipping them. Whatever they could take and do and change to fit some agenda they want to push doesn't add to the character. It doesn't build upon the past. There is nothing to appreciate. There's nothing new about it. That's what these new writers are failing to understand. So when toxic fans say we want to go back, we don't want to go back to the past. We understand that's not possible. We understand that some things in the past might have been slightly problematic if viewed through today's lens. But what we're really saying, basic, plain and simple, just write a damn good story with the existing parameters that you were given. Superman is this. Batman is this. If you can't write within that confine, don't turn him gay. Don't turn him black. Don't turn him woman. Go to writing school. However, this is merely my take on things. As always, I welcome your take, so let me know.